500K in assets beats a 50K salary. Here's the math. Most people are optimizing the wrong variable. They want a raise, they want a promotion, they want a better title, a bigger bonus, a more impressive LinkedIn headline, and none of it matters. Because there is a number, a specific number is just where your salary becomes optional, not supplemental, not helpful, optional. And once you understand what that number is and how it works, you will never think about your career the same way again. I crossed that number. I no longer need a salary, not because I won the lottery, not because I had a windfall, because I understood one equation that most people spend their entire working life never seeing. By the end of this video, you will know the exact threshold. Let's start with the number, 500,000 in productive assets. At 10% annual return, the historical average of a broad market ETF, $500,000 generates $50,000 a year. That is not a fortune. But for a large percentage of people in Europe, it covers rent, food, transport, and a reasonable life. Push that to $700,000. At 10%, that's $70,000 a year, more than a decent salary, generated automatically, every year, whether you work or not, whether you sleep or not, whether the economy is growing or contracting. This is what I call the crossover point. The moment your capital income matches your labor income. Before that point, your labor is load-bearing. After that point, your labor is optional. Most people never reach it, not because they don't earn enough, because they never understood that this was the goal. Here's the problem with the salary mindset. Your salary has a ceiling, you can work harder, you can get promoted, and at some point, sooner than you think, hit the ceiling of what your labor is worth in the market. Even at $120,000 a year, you are still entirely dependent on showing up. You get sick, the income is at risk. You get fired, the income stops. The company restructures, the income stops. You burn out, and suddenly the thing paying for your life is the thing destroying it. Capital has no ceiling. 500,000 at 10% generates $50,000. 1,000 generates 100,000. 2,000 generates $200,000. It compounds. It doesn't call in sick. It doesn't need a performance review. It doesn't have a difficult manager. The gap between labor income and capital income is not a gap in effort. It's a gap in understanding. Let me show you the timeline concretely, because this is where most people say, great, but I don't have $500,000. Correct, you don't have it yet. But let's run the math honestly. $1,000 a month into a diversified ETF portfolio at 10% annual return. Year 1, roughly $12,600. Year 3, roughly $43,000. Year 5, roughly $78,000. Year 10, roughly $204,000. Year 13, approaching $300,000. Year 15, crossing $400,000. Year 16, $500,000. 16 years of consistent, unremarkable execution, not brilliance, not luck, not a single correct market call. Just monthly contributions to an asset that compounds while you live your life. Most people watching this have already lost 5 to 10 years. Not because they were poor, because nobody told them this was the number to aim for. They were told to aim for a better salary. The salary kept them busy. The capital never got built. That is not an accident. That is the system working exactly as designed. Here is the part most people resist. Building capital is not compatible with consuming everything you earn. The average professional with a good salary has less than $10,000. Every $700 a month invested in your 30s costs you roughly $53,000 in future capital. A person earning $6,000 a month who invests nothing is running the hamster wheel at higher speed. The difference is the decision. You start making decisions from strength. You work if you want to. You take projects that interest you. You say no when no is the right answer. This is not a lifestyle fantasy. This is the direct mathematical consequence of crossing the threshold. Freedom is not an emotion. Freedom is a number. I know what that number is for me. Most people have never tried to calculate what it is for them. That's where the problem starts. You have been told your whole life that success means earning more, better job, higher salary, bigger title. And if you are honest with yourself right now, after everything I've just shown you, you can see that this is the wrong direction. Earning more without building capital is a faster treadmill. The goal is not to run faster. The goal is to get off the treadmill. You know the number now. $500,000 in productive assets at 10% generates $50,000 a year. One action, open a blank note on your phone. Write down your current monthly after-tax income, your investment amount, calculate the gap. Because you cannot optimize a variable you've never measured. The threshold is $500,000. Subscribe. The next video shows you exactly how.